those the lucky ones who left the camps, they were taken to forced labor factories in mainland China or within East Turkestan. They have no freedom. They are just like from one prison sent to another place, and where they have to work long hours without getting paid. Also, there are many Uyghurs who were released. They are in very poor health and psychological and mental health problem, developed psychological and mental health. And we know from the handful of survivors that I have personally interpreted for them face to face, especially those who came this time to London, stayed here for over a week, and none of them are basically mentally normal. They all have suffered severe damage. Their mental health is suffering from mental health problems. So you can imagine the Uyghurs who were released from the camps after experiencing inhuman, degraded treatment, torture, rape, and you cannot have a normal life. What kind of future life you can have? When I worked for this documentary called Undercover China's Digital Gulag, and the undercover Chinese cameraman interviewed Chinese officials there, and one of the Chinese officials said, it is on that documentary. If you watch it, you will see it. And one of the Chinese officials said, well, we have to build a lot of mental hospitals, because when these people are released, they are not going to be normal. And then another Chinese official, when he was asked, don't you think the Uyghurs feel that their human rights are being violated? And not knowing, he was interviewed by a journalist. He said, this is not about violating human rights. They simply don't have human rights. They simply don't have human rights. So the Uyghurs, even after they're released from camps, even living at their own homes, that they are not free. The Chinese government have the homestay programs, and they select families. Then they send the Chinese cadres, the officials, mail to live with Uyghurs at least 5 to 1 week a month, to monitor their lifestyle, whether they eat pork, whether they have Quranic literatures, books in the house, whether they pray, whether they speak Chinese or Uyghur. So the whole country, the East Turkestan, is prison. Now it's the biggest high-tech surveillance controlled police state on earth.
So it's a full-time prison. It sounds, well, not sounds, it is modern-day slavery, and it seems that the intent of the Chinese people is to break down the Uyghur people mentally, spiritually, physically, and just to wipe you off the face of the earth. You are an activist. You've been living in London for quite a while. What are the chances that you will get sent back, or were you born and raised in the UK? And what happens to people like yourself if ever they should get their hands on you or your families?
Well, from many other, this is a great question. When Chinese government couldn't reach you, when they couldn't silence you, they use your family members against you. So I lost contact with my family since January 2017. After 2 months, I cannot get through to anyone. And then finally, when my eldest brother answered the phone call, I said, why no one is answering the phone? He said, they did the right thing. And then he said, leave us in God's hands. We leave you in God's hands too. And his voice was trembling. And I could see that fear. And only 2 weeks ago, we learned that World Uyghur Congress President Tulkun Issa his younger brother serving life sentence. And we know that his mother died in camp, and the father died. We don't know how, under what kind of situation. So there are many Uyghur activists, including journalists in Radio Free Asia, who works for Radio Free Asia. That many family members are in detention, in camps, or in prison. That is the kind of price that the activists are paying at the moment. You cannot find this kind of equivalent regime on earth. When they cannot reach you, they come after you, your family, your children, your parents, your sisters and your brothers, in order to silence you.
All right. Unfortunately, it's time for me to wrap up. Rahima, you've just disclosed a horror story to me and to our viewers and listeners here in South Africa. I am actually shaking with rage and fear. I can't even begin to imagine the atrocities that has been violated upon the Uyghur people. Our duas are with you, and to activists around the world, we stand in total support with you, our Muslim Uyghur brothers and sisters. Allah make it easy. Shukran very much for talking to us. Go well, and salamu alaikum to you.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank
you. And you. And that's it from us here on News and Views on Salam Media. Thank you for your company this morning. We do hope you're going to join us tomorrow morning at the same time. Till then, please, please, please remember the protocols. Sanitize, mask up, and social distance. We're hearing of way, way, way too many deaths and way too much hardship and suffering through this pandemic, COVID-19. Take care as always. Assalamu alaikum and Khuda Hafiz from me, Julie Ali.